Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Bite-Sized Thursday, a subsidiary of Slate Media. I'm Jared, this is Jake, and we're watching Star Wars Visions. Last week we finished up the first season, and so that means we'll just have to start the second season this week with the first episode, Sith. Animated by, I believe it's pronounced El Giri? It's a small studio out of Madrid in Spain. They've not done a huge amount of projects, but it looks like they got a lot of animators with experience, a lot of Disney experience in there. And yeah, excited to start the second season.
Yeah. I wonder if I mean, just because we know the title is Sith, I wonder if it all pivots around what we saw happen in the first season. I doubt it, but, you know, a man can hope and dream.
Yeah, the screenshot we saw let us know, okay, it's more of a computer animated thing, but stylized and textured, you know. Mm-hmm. As everyone will say, a la Spider-Verse is the popular way to go, because that's the best way to compare it to things like that now. And
yeah, but I disagreed. It's not as simple as comparing the two.
Yeah. I'm just saying
most things that people say that about anyways.
Yeah, that's just the go-to people say when they see something like, oh, it's Spider-Verse. But, yeah, well, this is the first non-Japanese episode. I think all 9 of Season 1 were animated by Japanese studios, so I'm excited to see what they offer for this first episode of the season. Anything else to add before we watch it?
No, I think that's everything.
Alrighty. Let's
take a bite.
And welcome back. We just watched Sith, animated by El Giri, and that was really good. It wasn't very long, but it was paced well. Animation was incredible. I'm a big fan. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, my American brain did the contemporary media thing again, where I wanted it to be way more complex than what it was. Like, just how her room or building is drawn and layout. I was like, oh, we're wandering around in her mind. She doesn't remember that she's a Sith or something like that. And it's just funny when it's just not that.
Yeah, I love the paint splatter art style of it. Like, not just it looks like paint splatter.
I want to see more Jedi fights like that. That made not only them moving interesting, but the area in which they were in interesting as a part of the fight.
Yeah, I think that the White Room was like a mind palace of sorts, because they were still fighting in that hallway, but remember, he saw it. So that's what I wonder what that was trying to convey, was like that's in her head.
Well, that's what I thought.
Yeah, and again, yeah,
maybe
American
mind.
Maybe
that was right, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I did this to myself with Oppenheimer too. I overthought it to the point where I missed the point of the movie. So it's not abnormal for me to overthink a piece of media.
Yeah. So last week's was really short, and we were talking about how, like, these are short and they only have one episode, where, you know, there's always fingers crossed that there is a sequel, because that's what we prefer, but we also recognize these act on their own. But for how much ground they cover, both story-wise and physically, in that last episode, was it 12 minutes for the bulk of it? Just felt way too short and way too fast. This one is the opposite.
This one's 13 minutes?
Yeah.
It's only a minute longer. It's amazing what you can do with a minute.
Yeah. And it is simpler, and that's why it functions well. Everything we needed from the story was right there. And are we going to say the line? Because I don't know if I'd take a show, but I'd take a movie. Because I think a show would just not be feasible.
I'd take a video game. I mean, we kind of have a video game-ish like this.
You have one, you say?
Knights of the Old Republic is kind of like that.
Gotcha. And Splatoon. because of all the paint.
Oh.
That's what I was saying. Like, it is not only the paint splatter look. It's literally she's working with paint in a lot of that. But it's such a cool look. The shot composition, too, I was really liking because
they do a good job of, like, concealing it from you in a way, but you also know, like, the black paint. When she says, you know, it seems like darkness just wants to be a part of the painting. In any other context, I think that sorry, let me rephrase. In any other context except for Kingdom Hearts, I would hear that line and go, ugh. I don't feel that way here.
It worked, you're saying?
It worked.
Yeah. Kind of a simple, like, darkness is a part of me no matter what I do, but now I have the choice to move forward, accepting it as part of me, but forging my own path, and that's cool.
Dual lightsaber. I know we've seen dual lightsabers before, but none quite
saber.
Like that.
The McDonald's saber. Because it was yellow and red. I'm loving it. I'm loving it, yep. It was a cool moment. I didn't know that was going to happen.
No, I didn't either. That's what's fun about these. It shows with ones like that. I think we probably said it before, but with like things like The Mandalorian or the movies or whatever, Obi-Wan, you know what's gonna happen. Like they're filling in gaps that they don't need to fill in, and
they do a lot of the same story.
But like this stuff, it's not canon. You have no idea where they're gonna go with it. That's why Ahsoka was so refreshing for me, is because I just didn't know. Like, I had seen Rebels, and I knew where I thought they were headed, but, like, I had no idea how that would end. I still don't really know how it will end.
Yeah, because we have another season coming.
Yeah, and I thought I read somewhere that they were going to try to work Ezra into a movie of some kind.
I'm fine with that. I like Ezra, and I like the guy they picked to play him, too.
Yeah, and I like the girl they picked to play Ahsoka. I can't remember her name.
That's Rosario Dawson, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, just that was refreshing. This Visions thing is pretty refreshing, if not making us, as we've said before, wish that the main canon stuff was more interesting.
Yeah.
Coming from people who are Star Wars fans and have been for quite a while. When did you become a Star Wars fan?
Late 90s.
Yeah, so when you were a teenager?
Yep.
You said late 90s.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, early 90s.
Okay, so with
the release of the black and silver box.
Gotcha. So so when you're in single digits, that's probably most of us.
The first time I remember really, really loving Star Wars and going out and buying a Star Wars shirt and like.
What shirt was it?
It was a shirt that's with Star Wars and had a TIE fighter right here. First time I remember that, I think, was 5th grade.
5th grade?
Like, really leaning into it.
5th grade. So you would have been about, what, 10? So we're talking about 1996, so.
4th or 5th grade. I always watched the movies, or at least the recorded version of it that my mom had, which we have found out later in life that she didn't record parts that she thought were bad, and I just thought that was the entire movie.
So it's like it's like you get to a certain point and they go, that's not right. You go, yeah, it is. No, and like your friends have to fill you in on the details. You're like, what?
No, my friends never filled me in on the details.
You saw it.
I never talked. Yeah, it was like, I mean, the most clear representation I can think of it is whenever we. What was it was a bite-sized one that we did for something last year. The mouse thing for Christmas.
Twice the night before Christmas.
Yeah, that whole thing with the green mouse.
That's right. There was like a whole like acid trippy part, right?
Yeah.
And you realize,
she never recorded that because she didn't approve of it.
Is it a Troy and Community moment of, well, yeah, everyone repeats the 5th grade twice, and then they're like, no. Mom, how long have you been lying to me?
I don't think it's quite that bad.
No, but in the same vein of, You live your life to a certain point, believing something about something that everyone public thing, and then when you realize it, you're like, what?
What else have I been lied to about?
Yeah, but back to our point. Both of us have became fans when we were very young, and watching it, as many of us do over and over throughout our lives. Less so these days. But when we do see stuff like this, it just feels good to know, hey, there's plenty of creativity out there, and there's plenty of voices out there to tell different stories, and it's so cool to see these. The saddening thing is we don't get this level of creativity in the main series because of how strict they are to keep it a certain way, and how they don't want to take risks on a lot of stuff because of how infantile the fan base can be. So it's kind of I'm glad this exists. It just makes me a little sad that this is like the closest we'll get to those super stylized Star Wars stuff. Again, I'd watch a whole movie of this.
I don't know. With the popularity of Spider-Verse, it's entirely plausible that we could get a Star Wars movie in that sort of animation style.
That's true.
It's not entirely like out of left field, because those movies have changed animation, at least in America.
Oh yeah, and it took a little bit, if I remember, because the first movie came out and it did well, but it wasn't a gigantic runaway hit.
Didn't it win Best Picture for that, or Best Animated Feature for that
year? It
did.
Like, it was popular, and it picked up steam later. I think either at the end of its run, or like it was a success, but it got so much bigger once it hit streaming, because people are stupid and go, I don't want to go to theater and watch an animated movie. And then the second one did way better than the first one.
The second one is so much better than the first one.
And it is better than the first one. Yeah, and I'd like to...
That might be a hot take for someone, but I genuinely feel like that is a better movie.
Yeah. And I would take another theatrical Star Wars animated film, because we've already had one. And I looked up its box office, because I'm like, how well did it do? $8 million budget, made $68 million, so not like, it's not a gigantic hit. I don't know what the marketing budget was, but it made money, and that was before Star Wars had expanded into what it is now. It's always been big, but I think another animated Star Wars movie in a different animation style that's interesting like this could work.
A more
if people
adult,
come out to watch.
I hesitate to say adult, but
yeah,
something like this.
Yeah.
Not that I'm married to the part of the fault of the Clone Wars movie was it was 3 episodes strung together.
Yeah.
If you did this and it was
a full story, like a story structured for a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, from the sound, as you've heard, we enjoyed it. We hope to see more creativity coming. We got a good one coming up next week, but where did I put that thing?
Next week?
Yeah.
That's next week.
We'll get to it in a second. But until then, until we watch more, Jake, where can they find us?
Until then, well, you can find us on Tuesdays. I think we're still going through the Marvel stuff, right?
Yep.
Other than that, you can catch us here on Thursdays. You can catch us on Facebook, X,
formerly known as Twitter,
Instagram, the ever funny TikTok. If you prefer to listen to us as a podcast, we're on Apple, Spotify, Google, if that's still a thing. I think they're reorganizing or something. Anywhere you can get your podcasts. If you listen to us on a platform that has a rating system, please give us a rating, write a review. It really helps us out. Or you can check us out right here on YouTube. See our lovely, lovely neckbeard faces. Hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, get notified when we upload new content.
And check out the Groovy website.
Oh, yeah, I haven't mentioned that in a couple of weeks, have I?
Yeah, I think. But yeah. All right. Next week, the second episode of Season 2 is Screecher's Reach, animated by Cartoon Saloon.
Yeah. Yeah.
which is the one I've been excited for since we first started this. We're big Cartoon Saloon fans, but that's next week. So until then,
take
a bite.
Bite.
Oh.